Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be going into the aftermath of the last video, which was when Vader found out that Sidious attempted to have him be assassinated. But before we begin, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, with their business on Kyber completed, Vader and the Ninth Sister left the planet and returned to Coruscant. Now suspecting that the Emperor had placed the bounty on his head, the Dark Lord planned to confront his master about his intentions. As the Ninth Sister piloted the ship towards hyperspace, Vader worked on creating a new lightsaber. His droid, meanwhile, investigated the origins of the kill contract placed on him, and confirmed that the order could have come from the Emperor's office. With no evidence of slicing to indicate foul play, but as the ship arrived in orbit over Coruscant, the ship's attempt to transmit clearance codes for landing was jammed, and the ship itself was marked as being part of a separatist splinter cell. The Imperial's capital orbital defenses targeted Vader's ship. Only the Dark Lord's skill as a pilot prevented them from being destroyed, although the ship was damaged and forced to crash land on Coruscant. Tired of the repeated attempts on his life, the Dark Lord headed to the former Jedi Temple to confront the Emperor. The Emperor was investigating the hoard of artifacts that Jocasta Nu had collected and stored in the Jedi archives when Vader arrived. The Emperor sensed that his apprentice did not wish to discuss his recent discovery, although he did praise him for having found the librarian's stash. Vader informed his master of the events on Kyber and his investigation into the kill order against him, before directly asking if his master had placed it on his head as part of a test. Noticing Vader's new lightsaber, the Emperor asked to see it, approving of its design. He also chastised his apprentice for believing he would resort to such methods as placing a bounty on his head. If he wanted to have him killed, and that he did not test, he thought. He also told Vader that finding his assassins were his task, not theirs. This echoed a previous lesson he had taught Vader when he disciplined Colonel Baroki, that they must not kill everyone in the galaxy, but that having power meant that they could, and that they would never lack for people to destroy. Vader returned to his quarters, where he meditated on the past events and his master's words. Thinking back to all that had happened, he eventually realized the cause of the conspiracy against him was that his sudden elevation had caused concern and fear among the ranks of the Imperial officers, who knew that he had strength, but not that he shared the Emperor's power. Despite a lack of proof, Vader became convinced that Colonel Baroki, who had so suddenly borne his displeasure, must be involved in the conspiracy. The Dark Lord met with the Emperor and shared his conclusions, and requested that he be publicly recognized and allowed to show them the consequences of opposing him. The Emperor asked whether he was sure, and Vader confirmed it. He would not kill them all unless he had to, but would not allow them to act against him with impunity. The Emperor agreed to Vader's plan, but forbade him from killing Tarkin, as he was essential to his plans. The Emperor then gathered the elite officers of the growing Imperial military to clarify the new hierarchy. He formally introduced Vader as his emissary, who spoke with his voice, and whose commands would need to be obeyed as if they came from the Emperor himself. The Emperor then moved aside and allowed Vader to speak. The Dark Lord summoned 5 officers before him: Corran Farrow, Zorda Bingham, June Streffy, Tomas Azoras, and Baroki, informing them that the 2 attempts on his life had been made from within the officer corps, and that he had his suspicions on who had been responsible. He instituted a new rule: for every assassination attempt he survived, and he warned them that he would always survive, 5 officers chosen at random would be executed. He instantly executed the 5 designated officers with a force choke before departing. He left the remaining officers stunned and afraid. With his position in the hierarchy established, Vader never held an official military rank, but acted as the de facto commander-in-chief of the Imperial military, being recognized as part of both Imperial High Command and the Imperial Ruling Council as well. Afterward, Vader returned to his personal suite and meditated, cracking the window in his anger that positive thoughts still came. In 18 BBY, 1 year into the reign of the Empire, Vader was reliving his duel on Mustafar through meditation. During his experience, He was already in his cybernetic suit, and he used the Force to throw lava at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan jumped up to dodge it, but Vader Force choked him and threw him into the rocks. Vader watched Obi-Wan burn before he awoke in his meditation chamber, as the Emperor asked for him over the comm. In his throne room, the Emperor told Vader that a year after his ascension, it was time to show that his voice was the only voice within the Empire. Vader asked how, and the Emperor told him that Mon Cala would make a great example of the price of defiance. He further told Vader that King Lichar may have had an advisor helping him with his negotiations with the Empire. Vader asked if it could be a Jedi, and the Emperor said it was possible. He told Vader to take a team to investigate this, and claimed the military aspects of the operation would be left to Moff Tarkin. Vader arrived at Mon Cala aboard the Zeta-class shuttle Infernum. With him, he took 3 Inquisitors, the 6th brother, 9th sister, and 10th brother, and a death squad of purge troopers. At this time, the Imperial Ambassador Telvar had just finished another meeting with Lichar, and the man was walking to his shuttle when he saw Vader descend from the ramp. The 9th sister struggled to get past the King's Chief of Security, Gael Akbar, and Vader confronted the Mon Calamari, asking if he had read the writ that the 9th sister had given him. Akbar confirmed that he had, but demanded that he knew their business as he had a job to do, and so did Vader. Vader complied and explained about a possible enemy of the Empire on Mon Cala. As he said that, Telvar's shuttle took off and flew for Tarkin's Star Destroyer, the Sovereign, which was in orbit above Mon Cala. However, as Akbar denied the possibility of an enemy of the Empire being on Mon Cala, Telvar's shuttle exploded. Telvar's assassination prompted Tarkin to enact a full-scale invasion of Mon Cala. His forces landed at Dak City, where Vader had arrived, and laid siege on the Mon Calamari and Quarren defenses. Vader and his team sprang to life, and soon seized the landing pad where the Infernum was parked. He then led them to the Dak City Palace to find Lichar and asked him about the possible Jedi. They fought their way through the palace guards and entered the palace, where the 9th sister began torturing Lichar for the location of the Jedi. However, another threat loomed over them. A massive tidal wave had suddenly erupted as part of Lichar's defense plan. The 6th brother warned them, and he and the 10th brother began shielding Vader and the 9th sister from the wave using the Force. When their attempts began failing, Vader joined them, but it was not enough. The group was washed away by the wave, and Dak City was left in ruins. Vader awoke at the bottom of the Great Ungnis Trench. As his oxygen supply was dwindling, he used the Force to create an air bubble for himself. Suddenly, he was attacked by a squid-like creature, and after wrestling with it, he killed it with the Force. Vader then rode its body using the Force, and eventually picked up a transmission from the Inquisitors. Vader asked them to come to his position, and they did so in an Imperial submarine. When they picked him up, he asked about the Jedi, and the Inquisitors said that he was still alive somewhere. Vader then asked about Lichar, and the 9th sister said they did not know, but she then revealed that she had gotten the Jedi's location from him. Knowing exactly where their target was, they began traveling for the Jedi. Vader and his team arrived at the Jedi's location to find the individual and his disciples evacuating. The Jedi, an Itochi Padawan called Farron Bar, had been notified by Lichar after he was recovered following the events at Dak City. The group of them immediately scattered, but one of the disciples instead attacked the submarine head-on with his blaster. The shots bounced off the window, and Vader used the Force to crush his helmet. The other fled in the direction of Bell City, and as Vader caught up with them, another disciple turned around to attack them. He too died in the process, but managed to slow Vader's submarine, and the rest of the group followed Bar to Bell City. Vader and the Inquisitors arrived at Bell City, and marched down the hallway, reinforced by the Inquisitors and the Purge troopers. Vader was then contacted by Tarkin, who was struggling to deal with the grueling conflict on Mon Cala. Vader told Tarkin that he was busy, but Tarkin knew that and asked him to do something else instead, to capture Lichar. Vader told Tarkin that he did not answer to him, but Tarkin replied that capturing Lichar was the only way to end the fighting quickly on Mon Cala. and he pledged to owe Vader a favor if he did so. Vader agreed and told the Inquisitors to continue the hunt as he left. Vader arrived at Lee Char's Royal Command bunker and killed his guards. He then disarmed Lee Char and contacted Tarkin, who told him to take Lee Char to a window and send him his exact location. Vader asked Tarkin if he was going to send a shuttle, and the man said not yet. Once Vader did what he asked, Tarkin began a bombardment of Mon Cala. Lee Char watched in horror but refused to surrender. The two were interrupted by Bar, who had outsmarted and scattered Vader's team. Bar confronted Vader, and the two dueled. As they fought, Bar revealed that he had assassinated Telvar to send the Mon Calamari into war. Lee Char overheard this and realized his mistake in the following Bar. He ran to his terminal and sent a message to the Mon Calamari and Quarren forces, ordering them to cease fire. Lee Char then contacted Tarkin, notifying him of the surrender. Tarkin sent a shuttle to pick him up, but continued the bombardment. Vader and Bar continued fighting, and Bar began laughing. Lee Char questioned this, and Bar said that he had completed his plan. Bar prophesied that the Mon Calamari vessels would be at the forefront of a great rebellion decades from then, and decades after that. Vader told Bar that he was not a Jedi anymore, and Bar told him that made two of them, saying that he still beat the Sith. Vader then slew him, and the shuttle arrived to pick up Lee Char. The king told Vader that Mon Cala would rise again, but Vader told him there was no Mon Cala, only the Empire. Sometime after the mission, Vader ordered to imprison and torture the people of Mon Cala. Shortly after the events on Mon Cala, Vader soon became aware of a project that was taking up many resources, so he began investigating, which led him to the data vault on Scarif. There, he found Project Stardust, a project that was a large battle station the size of a small moon. Vader studied its design before he was interrupted by Tarkin, who was very displeased with Vader's snooping. Tarkin told him that he was not authorized to be there, and Vader claimed that the Force was all the authorization that he needed. Vader denied that he was Tarkin's beast, but the man denied his claim and taunted Vader, saying he did not need the Force to know he was very angry. Tarkin then produced a hologram of the Emperor, who told Vader that he did not recall sending him to Scarif. Vader apologized and told the Emperor he only sought to study the ways in which the Emperor would extend its rule over the galaxy. The Emperor told Vader of a new mission he was to go on. There had been certain instances of sabotage during the Death Star's construction that Vader needed to discover the source of before it got worse. The Emperor told Vader that Tarkin had full authority over him, and that if he disappointed him, he disappointed Palpatine. Vader arrived at Geonosis and met with Commander Orson Callan Krennic. As they greeted, an overhead rock formation exploded and rained down on them. Vader saved himself and Krennic, and they went to his office to discuss the matter. Krennic claimed it was Tarkin sabotaging his efforts in order to get rid of him and take over the project. Vader asked him if there was any proof, and Krennic was not able to produce anything. Krennic then explained to him the instances that had occurred in the last 3 months. Vader gave him his knowledge on the situation to loyalty officer Sid Udra, who met him at the Pentraki arena to discuss what she suspected. She told Vader that, as much as Tarkin and Krennic's rivalry arose tension between them, it was unlikely for either of them to be the culprit. She then offered Vader with another individual to look into, the scientist Galen Walton Urso. Vader looked through his office and found many kyber crystals, in which he bled for himself without issue. He then found a recording of Urso and his family. Vader also noticed that Urso called his daughter Stardust, which was the code name for the Death Star's project. Finally, Vader found an Uthika egg in a box. Knowing that Geonosians were a slave race and were forbidden from breeding freely, he confronted Krennic about this. Krennic denied that it was him and suggested that some of the slaves may have sent it as a distress call to Urso. Vader then deduced for himself that the saboteurs were at hand. Vader and a squad of death troopers entered a Geonosian hive and found the Queen and her minions. The two sides engaged, but Vader quickly came out on top, slaying the Queen. After the battle, he returned to Tarkin on the Carrion Spike and reported his findings. Tarkin asked Vader how he knew the Queen's Hive had orchestrated the sabotages, and Vader told how their slicers had confirmed the Hive to have installed corrupt tech into the production, ensuring accidents. Tarkin then asked Vader how he may have dealt with them, and Vader said that they were animals, so they were slaughtered like animals. Tarkin finally asked Vader if there was anything else, and he stated to Tarkin that his project, the Death Star, was able to destroy a planet. Tarkin asked how he knew, and he told them one of the kyber crystals he saw in Urso's office. Tarkin then asked Vader why he was not happy for this revelation, and Vader said that he distrusted his reliance on technological aberration. Tarkin then told Vader that he was one of those before realizing Vader wanted to be the only technological aberration. Vader warned Tarkin that the Death Star may become his tomb, and when Tarkin asked if that was a threat, Vader told him it was only a prediction. So that is the conclusion for Darth Vader's first year as a Sith. Please let me know what you thought in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.